the myth, the legend, Carter, the power, Bryant. Good evening, good sir. How are you?
Oh, boy. I'm glad I wasn't on with you on Monday. It gives you a chance to cool down a little bit, knowing that
actually I wasn't the one that everybody said that blew a gasket this week. They said your film breakdown, you blew a gasket.
Yeah, I mean it was it was bad. It was bad, and it's not good when a quarterback who's mostly been good this season plays his worst game, and it's not good when your head coach has his worst game, and it's not good when you know your defense had its worst game. When Blake, you had 2 weeks to prepare for this, and here's the thing. All right, it was 2 weeks, and the two things that cost you the game were the two things that you mentioned for the 2 weeks, right? Not letting Milroe walk in to the end zone. It was like my barbershop walk-ins are welcome. Jalen Milroe just prancing in, untouched. Well, not untouched, but you get the picture. And,
I mean, there were 2 touchdown runs he had. They were untouched.
Right. And Garrett Nussmeier, things were not easier for him, and he made things a lot harder on himself as well. It was a very, very, very sloppy game from him, and you're hoping it wasn't a continuation of the second half versus A&M, and it was exactly that with the turnovers. So it was tough. You were talking about the run game, Blake. It was better. I do have to say it was definitely better in this game.
Can I pause you?
Yeah.
What was the number one thing you and I talked about last week that I was pretty confident that you could do?
Yeah, you said that they could run. Yeah, they did some good things in the run game.
Why did they not stay with it? Why are they refusing to continue to go to outside zone? Why?
Yeah, so early in the game it worked. They got very creative with it, overloading and putting all their receivers on that side. They did better Alabama on some of the run stuffs. Mm-hmm. A big play was that 50-50 holding call going against Will Campbell on the go on.
Well, they ran a misdirection with it. It was the same formation. Xavion comes in motion. They fake the handoff and give it to him. Right? So if they stay with it, which, by the way, the very next play, Josh Williams gets a 6-yard run on an outside zone.
Yeah, I'll give Sloan that. I mean, the run game did look better. I mean, there was some things that they did better in terms of opening up holes, but it wasn't like pristine, right? And it's so hard.
I don't need pristine. I need you to just give me 5 yards. So God forbid it's third down. It's 3rd and 5 and not 3rd and forever.
Yeah, they did better. They did a lot better. But let me ask you this: would you change centers?
No. You want me to give you the reason why?
Yeah, let's go.
Because I've been out there to see the second center, which, by the way, he's out this week, and Garrett Dellinger, and the third center is, if you think DJ Chester is not ready, Cohen Eccles definitely isn't ready.
So let me throw a name out there that snapped the ball. I know some in practice. What about Bo Bordelon?
No.
You don't think he can hold up?
No, I know he can't. Carter, he was getting obliterated in practice.
Yes, and that's what I've heard. And I haven't been to an LSU practice in over a decade. But
Carter, they're putting him on outside linebackers and putting him at tight end because he can't play in the interior. That's how bad it's gotten. And
I understand why LSU wants to, keep G.H. Chester because half the battle is getting good snaps, and his snaps have been good this year. But I do think they need to do something else. And I
got an idea. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Stop running inside. That's the bottom line. You're good. Oh well, we're going to be one-dimensional. We'll be one-dimensional. Or and here's a thought. You ready? What happens? What do teams do when you can't run the football up the middle? What do they all do? Dump downs and little stop mesh routes to a tight end. It's not there's not one scenario that LSU is struggling with that you can't overcome it. There's not one. They're not doing it. That's the problem. They don't know how to do it.
Right. So let me ask you this. Would you make a change at quarterback?
No. Definitely not. Would you?
No.
All right, well, let me ask you this. What would you do at center?
I would try somebody else. Just anyone that you could think of. I think that's where it's gotten to at this point. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think obviously the best center since Lloyd Cushenberry was Charles Turner by far. And that's not, I mean, Charles was solid. He wasn't great. I don't think anyone would consider him a top 5 center in the modern era.
Boy, you miss Marlon Martinez right now, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's a few bad snaps in the Missouri game cost him the starting center role. I mean, it's just what happened. And I don't know. I would try something else. Like Chester is it's not just me. It's PFF that views him as the second worst center in college football right now. And I would just try something new there. I would.
They don't, Carter, we can say this until we're blue in the face. I get what you're saying. I don't vehemently disagree. I think he's a guard. I don't think he's
right.
I honestly think DJ Chester's a right tackle. I think he's got no business playing center, but that's neither here nor there. They don't have another option. They simply don't. Not one that I've seen. And unless you're going to run Cohen Eccles out there, then I mean, you can't run that kid out there. I'm sorry, you can't. It's not going to get any better. And here's another thing. You're going to go with a first-time center with Paul Mabinga now having to start at left guard for a second straight game because Garrett Dellinger's out. I don't know if the thing's out yet. I don't know if the injury report's out yet when we're talking, but he's out. I'll confirm that he's out. So regardless, I get what you're saying. I just don't. I don't know. Now let me ask. I mean, I don't know what you do. Let me ask you. You asked me the question about quarterback. I think there's no way in hell that you can pull Garrett.
No, not right now. I would like to see
Ricky
get a start. I wouldn't mind him starting either of the last few games.
Even with an SEC championship game technically still on the line.
Well, if they lose versus Florida. But yeah, I think you got to roll with Garrett. I do. I think, the last 3 halves have just been atrocious from him. I mean, he's got to play better. You got to see more of, what you saw in crunch time versus Ole Miss. And, a lot of quarterbacks have struggled with turnovers this year, in particular, the pocket quarterbacks. Carson Beck said turnover issues. But it's got to be
another. If Carson Beck's not in the SEC, we don't look at him the same way.
Yeah, he's
if this is happening at Penn State with Drew Aller's a sit-back quarterback. He doesn't have issues.
Yeah, and that's what's really been perplexing to me is the turnovers have not gotten better. And look, some of that's on Garrett. The one miss that really pissed me off was in the second half. Obviously, the 3rd and 4 miss in the first half was just massive. That was the biggest miss of the game. And when your defense is playing that poorly, you just have no room for error. You just got to convert that. There was 3 different options that would have gotten it done, and he missed all of them. And then spinning out, and I know DJ Chester was in his lap again, but he's got to hit Aaron Anderson on that post in the second half. You just got to.
Wait, you didn't hear Max Toscano?
No,
nobody's open on the post. He said the post nobody's open. Aaron's wide open.
Oh yeah, on that one. Yeah, I didn't see.
Yeah.
What
so I mean, DJ. I'm gonna. All right. This is where me and you are gonna disagree.
Yeah, go on.
I'm not gonna blame DJ there. Can I tell you why? Nuss cannot run to the line of scrimmage and change. I know for a fact that he cannot. That he changed the protection. He cannot run up there and change the protection. Miles Frazier doesn't hear it clearly. And here's how I know that protection got changed. You ready? We're blaming DJ Chester. You're right. It's bad. He's assuming that Miles will be there. Okay. His responsibility is to be in his area. There's not a man that he has. He's not supposed to pick that man up. When Miles goes to the other defensive end, Carter, you legitimately have.
I wasn't referencing
No,
the fumble.
I know. Hold on.
Oh,
hold
okay.
on.
You're talking about something
Hold
else.
on. Okay. Because everybody's blaming DJ Chester, but I gotta say this. You're talking about the rollout. Okay, let's start with that whole play. Okay, the problem is that you have Will Campbell and Paul Mabenga that legitimately shift left. They do not take a pass set. They don't go boom, boom. They shift left for whenever Garrett saw, and so did DJ Chester, which immediately for an offensive lineman, something comes off in my head. Why aren't they pass setting? Why are they moving left? Was there did they call a blitz to the left? What are they doing? That's number one. Okay. Number two, that's Miles Frazier's zone. You can ask any offensive line coach in the SEC right now, and they will confirm that. DJ gets blamed for that. That's got to be on Frazier. However, Carter, more people that blame DJ Chester for that play than the turnover.
Are you talking? Are you talking about the fumble?
I'm talking about the fumble.
Okay,
yes.
So the fumble play. Yeah. No. Yeah. Garrett can't turn that over in that spot, and he needs to quit doing the spinning thing. It's not.
Take the sack. Take the sack. Yeah. It is better than trying to create. Joe would always say it's okay to live to another down. It is okay to live to another down. He's pressing too much. To your point about the turnovers I'd make. Carter, here's the stat of the night for me. Are you ready? Garrett Nussmeier has played in 27 games at LSU. He started 9 of them. So that means in 18 games, he either came in mop-up duty or he had to come in the second half because somebody got hurt, right? So he's played in a lot of games. In the 27 games that he's played in those 9 starts, he's turned the ball over 20 times.
Yeah, no, it's bad. No, it's really bad.
It's more than bad, bud. It's more than bad. It's borderline. Carter, I'm going to make an example to you. Here's a debate for you. Max Johnson was more efficient than Garrett Nussmeier.
In what way?
Every way.
I won't go that far. Huh?
You should, because here's the thing. Nuss has double the turnovers that Max Johnson did at LSU the year that he started.
Yeah,
it's not a debate. The efficiency part on the turnovers are alone. Okay, Carter, you think in 3 games he can get to 8 touchdown passes? I could see that. But again, they would have the same number of touchdown passes if he gets to 8 in these next 3 games. And what are we labeling on? They're both 65% completion percentage, where the other is 62% completion percentage.
So you would take Max Johnson over Garrett Nussmeier?
I didn't say that. One has been more efficient, though. Like, everybody wants to throw these stats at me, but then when there's a stat that comes out that says, well, hey, this guy was more efficient, I think Garrett has a massive upside more than Max Johnson. Don't get that twisted.
Okay, yeah.
We're talking about efficiency.
Max, he had a lot of turnover-worthy play luck, but he didn't turn it over as much as Garrett Nussmeier.
No.
Right? Yeah.
No. And by the way, he didn't have 27 games, and this continued to be a problem for him. Like, regardless of what we think about the kid, if that does not get clean, Carter, look, let me ask you the question. Do you think LSU, outside of Bryce Underwood, needs to look for an experienced quarterback as a backup for next year if they don't think A.J. Swan can come in?
Well, it depends what Ricky Collins does. You know, if you've put
assume to me that Ricky Collins is out of the picture.
Yes, then you would need to get an experienced. Well, I don't know if you do land Bryce Underwood and he is the 5-star can't miss guy, and you're allocating all the resources it's going to take to get the signature, then I'm fine with him being the top backup next season or battling.
I think you got to roll with him.
Yeah.
And then if what happens with Colin Hurley, I mean, you have quarterbacks. I'd stay with A.J. Swan just in case, like in a deep emergency. It is what it is. What the comments saying? I'm not even looking at them. They're mad at us.
Oh, they're constantly mad at me. I'm used to it now. Someone says I live in an apartment, and I need to examine my I need to examine my nose hairs. Let's see.
Are they bad? We should. Is it Cortland that's doing that?
No, Mad Mike and friends, and someone. I've gotten a bunch of way nastier comments.
I know.
Than
All right,
normal, but that's fine.
Let's get to Florida here because I think we spent a lot of time on that. Your thoughts on this Florida game?
Yeah, obviously this is a story throughout the SEC is the quarterback health, right, of Nico in the Tennessee-Georgia game, and then obviously DJ Lagway. Obviously, Lagway is a twofold issue, right? He's better than what Florida currently has with Warner, whatever, and he is mobile, unlike Warner, number 16, who had a rough game versus Texas, but also has done some good things as like a number 3 emergency quarterback. Yes, he's not as atrocious as you would think a walk-on would be. I know that sounds crazy because it's not been productive, but he had some good drives in that Georgia game in short notice, and Florida had some issues with turnovers and all of that are out of his control. But if Lagway plays, you're going to see the zone read stuff. It would be nefarious for Billy Napier to not try and do that. And Blake, Florida, they've not had Louisiana native Montrell Johnson, but Jaden Baugh is
really he's good. So good. Dude, he's really so good.
Blue collar, 3-star running back. And one thing that was interesting in the Texas game, for some reason, he switched to going bare hands. It wasn't raining or anything. He went old school, just good old fashioned.
Maurice Claret.
Yes.
Same number too.
Yeah, just give him the daggum rock. And they did a lot of Wildcat with them, and it was effective.
I know.
Yeah.
Dude, can I tell you something?
Let's hear it.
With DJ Lagway's status this week and the effectiveness that they had on Texas and the Wildcat, if Billy Napier has a brain, and I'm talking about has a brain, okay, he would go out of Wildcat, and run it all day on us.
Just straight jet sweep motions. I would just force LSU to prove that they can stay in their gaps and play that, and that might be effective. And go the Lynn Bowden route with Ball. Ball's really good. Ball is surprising.
If we lose a game because they keep going out of Wildcat, I will break something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it could. Florida's run game's good. And when they played defenses that get out of their gaps, they will make you pay. All right. The Mississippi State game was just hellacious.
I mean, Carter, I'm going to be real with you. I mean, they're a overtime score away to clipping Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
Georgia's the 13th ranked. Say everybody looks at Georgia and says, oh, they have 2 losses. They're not the same Georgia team. Their defense is 13th in the country in total defense. Their defense is still really freaking good. They ran the ball all over Florida with a 3rd-string quarterback. And, buddy, Carter, I'm going to be honest with you. We have not stopped Billy. We are not tough enough. No. Billy has scored 30-plus points twice on us. Twice.
Yeah. No, and
I don't think we're tough enough.
Yeah, I mean, Billy is inside zone. You better be ready. I mean, he's done a really good job of playing versus LSU for whatever reason. So we'll see. Obviously, that game last year in Tiger Stadium was just insane. You had the big Caleb Jackson special teams mistake, and Jaden still found a way, like he always did. And you're not going to have him bail you out like he did in 2022 and 2023. So you need Garrett to come in, play well, don't turn the football over, obviously. And like you said, can LSU run on a Florida defense that has been run on?
All over. They've been run all over.
And one thing I would say is Sloan did have a few nice misdirection screens, and Florida just could not stop that. They struggled tackling. They struggled dealing with blockers down the field. Granted, Texas's offensive line is the absolute best at blocking down the field on these screens. I mean, they build walls. They are incredible. So we'll see what LSU could do versus a Florida defense that you could torch. But then again, I want to see this LSU offense play well before I have, the utmost confidence in them having a game like they did versus Arkansas.
I'm with you. Look, man, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be closer than we're expecting. I think LSU fans are expecting that we're going to go in here and win. I'm not saying I think we're going to win. I don't think we dominate them, man. There's nothing that's shown me Carter, I'm to the place where, you know what? I hope that I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. I need to see you after the last 6 quarters, because here's the truth. Defensively, I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. That has no excuse on you not being able to score more than 12 points the last 6 quarters. Vandy scored 40 on Alabama. You scored, what, 10? 13?
Yeah, and they're at, and like them, they were at home. It's been tough. And honestly, Blake, we get into like the breakdowns of this unit and that unit. The simple truth is Brian Kelly's got to coach better. I mean, there's just been so many of these games where a big problem in the 3 years under Brian Kelly, slow starts. It happened again versus Alabama. Got to start faster if you're getting paid what he's getting paid. You can't just have these hellacious halves. I mean, LSU has had so many bad halves under BK. All these things need to get better. And there's always just one weird bad thing for LSU every season that just doesn't make any sense, right? Last year it was the defense. The year before it was special teams. And now you're in a spot where, Blake, I mean, bad teams don't turn the football over as much as LSU's turned it over. Bad teams can stop simple zone read stuff and just stay in their gaps. So a lot of this goes on him. And you're still a BK guy. I'm still a BK guy, but he's got to be better. And look, I like the fact that he takes accountability in every press conference and says, I got to do better. Well, let's see it. Do better. And until he does that, I'm gonna keep saying it. I hope we get an inspired Arkansas-like performance on the road, and you just got to cross your fingers and hope that you see that.
It was still probably the most complete game that you've played in the last 2 years, that Arkansas game.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know what's wild about that? You didn't throw a touchdown, nor did you have a turnover. How nuts is that?
Yeah. And one more thing. If Caden Durham is healthy, keep him in. Just keep him in.
All right. He spelled himself. I know you can see it on the TV copy.
So you're saying on the first drive.
On the first drive, yes. After the 45-yard run, he's spelling himself.
No. I'm with you on that.
After Josh Williams gets one carry, you got to look at him and say, we need you. Get your ass in there.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'll give you the Josh Williams counter run, which, by the way, I know we're blaming DJ Chester again on this. If you know running game, the counter run with Josh Williams in the red zone, the running back is lined up on the wrong side. Josh Williams. I don't think Josh is blowing assignments. I don't. Okay? They're scheming it up this way. If you are going to run power counter, the running back has to be behind the pulling guard. The reason that happens is because he's going to seal and you go right off of his ass on the seal. Schematically, DJ is supposed to give ground and pin to make a hole. So when it looks like DJ is getting blown up, it's because the formation of the run is fucked up to start off with. How people do not know this is beyond me. So, for example, Carter, remember in the Florida game a couple of years ago when Ty Davis-Price, they ran counter the entire time. He was lined up. When the guard pulled, where was the running back? To the same side as the pulling guard every single time. The Marlon Martinez special. They are lined up in wrong formations. I'm telling you they are.
So we got to get aligned properly.
We have to. I promise you this, as God is my witness, if you get aligned properly, it will work.
And one more thing on the BK thing before we go.
Okay.
The clock management stuff really hurts.
All right. I had a lot of people. So by the way,
it really hurts.
Okay, hold on.
That's where the Les Miles kind of scars.
Okay, hold on. Let me preface this. You and I made Tiger droppings this week. Okay. We got sent the link of somebody talking about Tiger droppings. You talked about lining up for a Hail Mary there at the halftime. Explain what you were talking about.
Yeah, so you should have had – I don't know if LSU has a game management coach. Okay, there should be one person.
No, it's Brian Kelly. He's the game management coach.
Yes, but there are teams that have someone who manages the clock. That's their job because there's so many factors at play. The only reason you would run a Hail Mary is if they didn't have any timeouts, which they didn't. It's rare, especially in the first half, if a team doesn't have any timeouts in that spot. But in that situation, when Caden Durham was tackled, first off, you have got to tell your team in that spot, no matter what happens, no matter the result of the play, rush the ball back to the official, okay? That shouldn't have been negotiable. That is a non-negotiable in that spot. And it wasn't just Caden Durham. It was 3 different players. One
CJ Daniels.
One guy who was a year 5 guy, another guy, Mason Taylor, who's a year 3 guy.
And CJ should be yelling at Caden, get the ball back to him. Get the ball back to him. Get the ball back to him.
But the fact that you saw 3 different players in the same camera frame not do it lets you know that it's a coach. Brian Kelly takes his headset off with 15 seconds left. There's no reason to do that at all, period, unless you're in victory formation. What should have happened is
at worst, you get an interception. They can't return it.
Yeah.
Okay. At worst. Okay. Think about this. What if you get a pass interference and you can kick a field goal?
Yes. You with 5 seconds remaining, you should have lined up and done a Hail Mary. Okay. But the issue is your head coach took his headset off with 12 seconds left. And, well, what are you going to do in that spot? The bottom line in that situation is the offense should have been rushing. No matter what, that is a non-negotiable. Okay. And Blake, we lack some basic like football IQ things.
Oh,
just basic. If the ball is on the ground, pick it up. All right. You pick it up like outside of punt team. There's never an excuse to not pick up the ball if it's on the ground.
Pick it up the ball every time on punt team. That's the objective.
Right. Okay. But just in general. Okay. So in the second half of the game, there was a player named Jam Miller who went down with an injury and he fumbled the ball. Okay. We don't know if he was down or not. Okay. We don't know. But we had 3 defenders stand around the football and not pick it up. Now, they ruled him down, but the rule is you can replay while he's on the ground hurt. And if you have immediate control of the ball, they'll give you the ball. So it's something it's free. It's free. You should do it every single time. And if Brian Kelly could have, let's just say Jan Miller did drop the ball before he hit the ground, then you have the football. Okay. It's just a free thing that you should do every single time. Emory Jones had one of these earlier this year that was really smart to pick up, and Caden Durham was down anyway, but you should always just go hustle and pick up the ball.
Yeah, and he gave his entire body up on the sidelines. You remember that against South Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina. So so you noticed that because you were taught to do that. Okay,
dude, and I'm talking about gave full blown game on line effort.
Yes, so you always should do it. Always, because if you did pick it up immediately, you can whistle in, hey, while he's on the ground hurt, and once again, I'm not happy that the Bama player was hurt. You could say, hey, it's free. Can we look to see if he had let go of it? And then you're in scoring position down 15 with another chance to get back into the game. So it's all these little things that are starting to pile up. And, we didn't talk so much about the defense tonight, obviously, Blake. They need to play a lot of new guys over the next couple of weeks just to see what you have.
Well, I was about to lean on that with you. Do you have 5 more minutes?
Yeah. What was your reaction? Let me ask you this. What was your reaction to Major Burns making a business decision?
It was one of my do's and don'ts tonight.
You can't make
If I don't see hustle, I'm gonna blow a gasket.
dude. There is never, ever, ever. That's why I was so fired. There was just so many different things. If Alabama had come out and if it was like, let's say Ryan Williams making a bajillion crazy plays and they beat us, I can live with that. I can live with that, right? What happened versus Georgia, basically. But the fact that you have a multiple year starter, do or die game, make a business decision,
and then get clowned on social media behind it. He deserves that.
You can't. Here's why I've been so vocal about it. Is every team gets together and watch film, whether you watch it as a full team or just as a position group. You watch every play, in particular the plays where you give up bad plays, right? Because you want to fix what you're going to fix. Everybody in that entire room is going to see that play, and you're going to roll them back out there again. What kind of message? That's not a good message. Even if my backup safety is Jack Sparrow with the peg leg, I'm putting them back. I'm putting somebody else out there. Okay, and Coach 30, as Joseph pointed out, Coach 30. I couldn't get through the Coach 30, so I didn't know if we got to that point.
I only saw that one spot. I couldn't watch it.
I couldn't get through it. But I understand Jalen Milroe's a big guy. I get it, but I don't give a damn. You need to get chalked. I have a lot more respect if I see an LSU player get run over, because that means you put your ass out there.
Well,
right?
and that's why I've been saying this entire year, and everybody's like, "Oh, you got to play Jordan Gilbert." At least I know you're just not able to make the play.
Yeah, Jordan's played hard.
He's giving you everything he's got, and you know what? I respect that. Okay, and look, everybody goes on there. Oh, this guy's trash. That guy's trash. It's why I've kind of been a little bit easy on Sage in a lot of ways. I just don't think Sage doesn't know what to do. It's not that he doesn't give effort. The dude gives effort. It's just that, like, he's just not good enough. Like, I see him trying to get off a block on that third down with the screen calls, the bubble screen on the first drive. He's trying. He just can't make it.
Let me ask you this on a grand scale. Are you in the camp that LSU should pull an Ole Miss this offseason and just go get
1,000%?
Because here's my thing.
Hold on, pause.
No, go on.
Remember when we talked about paying the money for Demonic Williams and all those other dudes? I was in that camp. And if you remember correctly, basically about 90% of the fan base and media told me I was an idiot. I'm not an idiot now, am I?
Yeah, and the thing I didn't like about the Dominic Williams saga is that just kind of took a lot of the air out of it. It really did. When Ole Miss got most of those guys pretty quickly in the portal, they were active early. So
even if it's not Demonic Williams, I know how much Simeon Barrow cost. I do.
What was it? $250,000? Whatever it may be. You've just got to do it. Because look, here's the thing. Did LSU beat Ole Miss this year? Yes. But let me ask you this. Who's the best team?
I would much rather be Ole Miss right now.
Yes. And did LSU lose to Florida State the year before?
Mm-hmm.
And Florida State did that. They got the best guys. Even though he's from a smaller school, everyone knew Braden Fisk was the best DT in the portal.
Yeah, he had 10 sacks and interior defensive lineman. Like, what are we doing?
So you got to be active in the portal.
You do.
You just do.
I think you're bringing in a good defensive overhaul in this class. Really, I do. Yeah. Okay, but I don't want to be here for another year doing this.
I don't either. And look, here's the thing that's been really impressive with what Florida State did 2 years ago, and obviously they're terrible now, and Ole Miss. I understand why LSU's hesitant because, you're hiring mercenaries. They're not fully bought in, and there's been some transfers that have been not good they were cancerous, right, from the class 4. I understand that, okay? But every single one of these Ole Miss defensive players have hit. Okay, every single one of them. And
they didn't have labels of being cancers on them either. Denver Harris did.
Yes, and the thing is all of them gelled pretty quickly. Why? Because they're good. When you have a bunch of good players, it makes every scheme look better. If Walter Nolan is destroying the middle every single time, everybody looks better. I mean, it's just that simple. So I hope LSU's very, very, very active early in the portal.
Me too. All right, Carter, we got to run here. Love you, buddy. You know I love you every time you hear.